Sarah, don't go in tomorrow. It's peak feeding season.
That's exactly why I have to go. The data will be incredible.
You will be alone in blood-stained water. Those sharks are born to kill.
They're born to survive. I'll be careful. Trust me.
Welcome to True Animal Terrors, where real danger meets real stories. Don't look away. October 3rd, 2013. Dawn spread across the Pacific like molten copper as the first light touched the volcanic cliffs of Guadalupe Island. The air was sharp with salt, the waves steady against black rock gulls, crying overhead in restless arcs. To the untrained eye, the water shimmered like liquid crystal clarity, stretching for 100 feet downward. But closer to the seal colonies, the sea told a different story. Carcasses floated half-eaten slicks of blood spread across the surface, and the turquoise blue stained into a darker shade. It was peak feeding season when elephant seals gave birth in numbers, and predators converged in silent hunger. Guadalupe Island was unlike anywhere else. Divers around the world called it the throne of the great white shark. Here in these remote waters, 150 miles off Baja California, some of the largest specimens on Earth patrolled. Great whites over 20 feet long and weighing more than 6,000 pounds had been documented here, circling the seal colonies with patient dominance. For scientists, Guadalupe offered unmatched research opportunities. For anyone else, it was a reminder that beauty and danger could exist in the same breath. Into this world stepped Sarah Martinez. She was only 22, a graduate student from UC San Diego, but already her professors described her as fearless, determined, and brilliant. She had grown up near San Diego's coast swimming before she could even write her name. Competitive swimming carried her through high school into college, where she transitioned from athlete to scholar. Marine biology had captured her attention like a current she couldn't resist. Where her classmates gravitated toward safer studies, Sarah was drawn to predators, especially sharks. She believed they were not mindless killers, but misunderstood creatures whose behaviors followed patterns humans failed to see. Her thesis aimed to study feeding hierarchies and dominance among great whites. Few had attempted such work in the field, especially at Guadalupe. She argued that most shark interactions could be explained by subtle signals: body posture, approach angles, pecking orders around prey. Sharks aren't monsters, she told a classmate once. They're predictable if you know the signs. That's why I'm going, because someone needs to prove it. But Sarah's determination often blurred into stubbornness. Her advisor had warned
Sharks
her
aren't
against diving
monsters.
alone near feeding
They're
sites.
predictable if you know
She
the signs.
insisted her methods required undisturbed conditions. To Sarah, solitude meant accuracy. She carried underwater cameras sampling bottles and charts planning to capture data few others dared to attempt. That insistence on independence became both her strength and ultimately her undoing. The night before the dive, Sarah spoke with her closest friend over a video call. The connection flickered, but her face glowed with energy as she described her plans. "You're crazy," her friend said, shaking their head. "You know what's happening down there right now? Seal pupping season. You've seen the news. They're saying sharks are attacking everything that moves." Sarah smiled, brushing damp hair from her forehead. "If I wait for perfect conditions, I'll never discover anything. This is my chance. The behaviors I'm tracking only show up when they're competing for food." Her friend leaned closer to the screen, voice urgent. "Don't go alone, Sarah, please. These animals are born to kill. It's what they are. You can't outthink that. They're born to survive," Sarah replied softly. "That's what I'm here to study. They don't wake up wanting to kill people. They're efficient, that's all. Don't worry, I know how to stay calm. I'll be fine." The call ended with silence heavier than either of them admitted. The truth about sharks was harsher than Sarah's hopeful words. They were born to kill not with cruelty, but with design. Great whites carried in their bodies the refinement of millions of years. They were built for ambush, for speed, for overwhelming power. Their sense of smell could detect a single drop of blood in Olympic-sized pools. Electroreceptors along their snouts mapped the heartbeat of prey before eyes ever saw it. Their bite, over 4,000 pounds of pressure per square inch, could sever a seal in half with ease. And during feeding season, when blood stained the water and competition raged, they became even more dangerous. Great whites turned aggressive, defending territories, asserting dominance, striking with little hesitation. Every flick of their tail, every roll of their eye marked intent. Divers often said Guadalupe was the best place in the world to see sharks. What they left unsaid was that it was also the best place to be killed by one. Sarah believed knowledge would protect her. She carried confidence like armor built from years of swimming and studying, but the sea did not bend to belief, and the predators of Guadalupe had no interest in human theories. Morning came sharp and bright. The water off Guadalupe glittered under the rising sun, deceptively calm. Sarah checked her equipment with methodical care, waterproof cameras, sampling bottles, hydrophones. Each item was logged in her notebook, each purpose underlined. She pulled on her black wetsuit, the material sleek and seamless against her frame. It made her blend into the water, but also made her resemble the very prey sharks pursued. From the deck of her small research vessel, she gazed toward the seal colony. Hundreds of elephant seals sprawled across the rocky beach, their cries echoing over the water. In the surf, younger seals darted and played, unaware of the shadows circling just beyond. Blood already streaked the shoreline from kills during the night. The water was stained crimson in places, scraps of flesh drifting lazily with the tide. Sarah watched, heart quickening. Perfect conditions, she murmured. She lowered herself into the sea mast's secure sampling kit, strapped to her belt. The water enveloped her, cold and heavy clarity, extending in every direction. Shafts of sunlight cut downward like spears. Schools of fish darted past, scattering at her presence. Her body moved with practiced strokes, calm and steady, each kick measured. She drifted closer to the colony's edge eyes, scanning for feeding behaviors, for patterns in movement. Her focus narrowed so completely that she didn't sense the shadow below. The great white had been circling long before she entered. A 16-foot female, her bulk immense, her scars a map of dominance battles. She had fed the night before, but lingered, waiting for opportunity. The moment Sarah entered, the shark's senses ignited. Electroreceptors flared with signals, the steady thrum of a human heartbeat, the faint hum of muscle contraction. To the predator, the figure above was not a scientist, but prey-wounded seal silhouette against bright surface light. The shark's mind carried no malice, only instinct refined by time older than humanity. She circled at a distance, first muscles tense, tail carving arcs of power. Each pass brought her nearer. She tilted her head slightly, black eyes, fixed posture, telegraphing intent. Sarah, busy collecting water samples and adjusting her camera, never turned to notice. Then, with explosive force, the shark struck. She rose from the depths like a missile body, flexing upward in a surge of muscle and hunger. Her jaws opened wide, rows of serrated teeth gleaming. In a heartbeat, Sarah's torso was engulfed. The bite crushed instantly. Ribs snapped, spine severed, lungs punctured. Sarah's scream never escaped her throat. Only a burst of bubbles rose, frantic and brief. Her equipment spun away, bottles, scattering cameras, tumbling through red clouds. The shark shook violently, thrashing side to side. Sarah's body convulsed once, then slackened. The predator dove downward, carrying her into the blue abyss. On the surface, the research vessel rocked quietly, unmanned. Hours later, a Mexican Navy patrol boat spotted it drifting. Equipment floated nearby, sampling bottles, a waterproof camera, a clipboard with her final notes smeared but legible. No sign of Sarah. The search stretched 5 days. Divers swept the seal colony waters, Navy vessels patrolled wide arcs, helicopters scanned from above. Sonar pings revealed nothing but shifting shoals and jagged rock. The great white had vanished into deeper channels Sarah's body carried with it. Only the floating debris testified to what had happened. Authorities ruled the incident a shark attack and accidental drowning. No negligence was found, but new rules were issued almost immediately. Researchers were now required to bring safety divers, maintain constant radio contact, and avoid solo entries near seal colonies during pupping season. Sarah's fate became the catalyst for reforms that would shape every expedition after. At UC San Diego, her memorial service drew hundreds. Professors remembered her brilliance, her relentless drive. Classmates spoke of her laughter, her stubborn streak, her courage that sometimes walked too close to risk. Teammates from her swimming years laid flowers by her photograph framed in blue and gold. A colleague read from one of her notes, "The ocean is not cruel, it is simply itself. We must learn to respect it, or it will remind us why we should." Her thesis, salvaged from scattered data sheets and recordings, was completed posthumously. It became a landmark in shark behavior studies cited for years after. Her name lived on in journals, in classrooms, in whispered stories of a young scientist who gave everything to understand predators most feared. Yet the ocean kept its silence. Beneath the waves of Guadalupe, where seals still cried and shadows still circled, nothing had changed. The sharks hunted as they always had. They were born to kill, born to survive, unmoved by human tragedy. Sarah Martinez had entered their realm with courage and belief. The sea accepted her offering, and then it closed over her, eternal and indifferent. If this story of us is about 9 out of 10, subscribe so that we can entertain you more. On the other hand, you find this story ridiculous, comment down below. Please let us know what we can improve to bring you a more enjoyable time on our channel. Your support means the world to us.